For more, I want to bring in Democratic strategist and New Heights Communications President Christy Setzer and Political Prospect founder Kayleigh McEnany joining us this morning. Kayleigh, I'll start with you first. What do you make of all the sound that we just heard coming out of the weekend now with the changing of the polls just a little bit after the debate?
Sure. I mean, look, the GOP candidates need to accept the fact that Donald Trump is a real candidate and he's a viable candidate. Look at the polls. He has over 25% support, and you have all these other candidates trailing. He had a very poor performance in the debate. He was actually rated the least successful in the debate, but he's a viable candidate, and he provided on Meet the Press some needed gaps in his policies. So I think the other candidates need to settle down and abide by Reagan's 11th commandment.
Christy, but still, I mean, we heard soundbite after soundbite there of his Republican colleagues really just not taking him seriously yet. But here he is. He's showing up at the top of the polls again. Why don't they take him seriously?
Yeah, well, maybe one of the most interesting questions of his entire race so far has been what is at the core of Donald Trump's appeal, because it doesn't seem to be related to policy. For example, you see him getting the most votes among white evangelicals, even after he said he doesn't listen to God, he doesn't, take him seriously. So that's really an interesting question. But the lesson that they should be taking from this is there is a huge vulnerability for any politician, as usual, in this race. You look at the people who are doing well. It's not just Donald Trump. It's obviously also Carly Fiorina. It's Ben Carson. It's people who've never practiced politics at all. So that's what they should be thinking about before they mock Donald Trump anymore.
So, all right. So you mentioned his belief in God. And Kayleigh, I can't help but bring in the latest Fox News poll that shows that the top favorites among white evangelical Christians are Donald Trump, 27%. Second in line is Dr. Carson at 14%.
That's astonishing, and I think that this will be his death knell. Social conservatism is a real viable philosophy in this country. I myself consider myself a social conservative, and social conservatives will ultimately have a very hard time trusting Donald Trump. This is a man who said he was pro-choice and then he's pro-life. These are very hard issues to all of a sudden have an overnight change on. So I think that will ultimately be what drowns.
All right, jump in here, you guys.
They're important, but if you look at the past several elections of the GOP, it's clear that social conservatives don't necessarily appeal to the broader base of the party as would be the nominee. Look at Mitt Romney, and you can look back several other nominees. So they're important in states like Iowa, especially. But then you move to New Hampshire, and you have a much more independent-minded and varied electorate there. And also, going back to the question of why some people may not be taking Trump seriously, well, let's just look at the polling, right? Fox News polling, asking people who they think is actually qualified to be president right now. And if you look, Trump is at 45%. At the top of the list, you have Jeb Bush, 67%, followed by Rubio at 63%, and then Secretary Clinton at 62%. Yep. Trump doesn't hold a candle in the long run.
Michael?
No one's really gone after Trump yet, and that's the thing that I notice. It's amazing to me, I think we all agree on this, that the evangelicals support him so well. No one's even mentioned his history, frankly, of philandering, infidelity, divorce. How do evangelicals really feel about that? No one's really gone after him about this. No one's really pointed that out. I think everyone's a little scared of Trump right now. They don't know how to handle him. It's like a wild animal that no one knows how to catch. And that's really what this comes down to. That's going to change really quickly. All
right. Well, we definitely have more to discuss on this. Thank you so much for joining us, and thanks to Christy Setzer and Kayleigh McEnany this morning as well. All right.